I didn't even know Angel Sense existed until a few years ago when I got a call from a school district I represented telling me that a student had come to school wearing a device on their clothing that seemed to be designed mainly as a GPS tracking device, which nobody had a problem with. The problem was that it also had something called a listen-in feature, which would allow the parent at home not only to track their child's location, but also to listen in on anything going on within earshot of where their child was, which also wouldn't be a problem, generally speaking, other than the fact that that child may have been sitting in a self-contained classroom and the parent could be listening in on what's going on as far as a teacher's interaction with a fellow student sitting next to them, or other matters where other people's privacy interests were at stake. Not a lot of court cases squarely focusing on this issue, but the school districts that I represent have taken a pretty firm stand that this shouldn't be allowed to occur. We understand why parents might want to be able to hear what's going on around where their kids are, but we also understand why other parents might not want other parents listening in on what's going on with their own children. So we tried to figure out a way of balancing everyone's interests here. And in that particular case, we were told by the parent that she was unwilling to turn off the listen-in device. We made it clear that we were not going to allow it to be activated during the school day. But we were trying to explore some sort of compromise that would make sense for everyone, and it occurred to me, this is really one of my first dealings with an ed tech company, that maybe if I could just get somebody on the phone to discuss what our concerns were, we might be able to work out some kind of practical solution that would make everybody happy. I didn't have high hopes based on earlier dealings with other big companies who come in with standard agreements and stick them in front of school districts, and we just don't have the resources to question them or even read them in some cases. But much to my pleasant surprise, I was able to get somebody on the phone, and in the space of a few minutes, we worked out an arrangement that seemed to make sense. The company's initial position was there's no problem because the parent can turn off the listen-in feature, and if the parent happened to turn it back on during the school day, no problem. An email would be sent to the school district alerting them that this had occurred. And when I stopped laughing, I said, well, that's silly, because who has the time to be sitting around looking at a computer screen all day waiting for an email to come in from your company? We have to find a way where this can be deactivated with assurances to everyone that no one can turn it on unless we said so during the school day. And what they were willing to do, I think because they realized two things. Number one, it was the right thing to do, and also because it made good business sense not to be annoying school districts into keeping their products off school property. They were willing to allow their deactivation form to be rewritten to allow for it to be turned off not by the parent but by the company itself, where they would guarantee that it would be turned off from whatever window we all agreed on, which in our case was the moment the child stepped on the school bus in the morning until the child stepped off the school bus in the afternoon, and nobody had to take the family's word for it that no one was listening on anybody. So the point that I shared with my colleagues in other school districts is not that we're endorsing any product, but here's just one example of a situation where if you make an effort to reach out to one of these companies, maybe they'll see it in their interest, either because it's the right thing to do or because it just makes good business sense, to try to vary from their so-called standard forms and come up with a solution that everybody can live with.